Stop fighting your body. 5 counterintuitive lessons from Yogic Therapy 1. The instinct to escape, moving beyond the body as a battleground. When a sharp pain strikes or the heat of a fever begins to rise, we often become refugees in our own skin, fleeing the very sensations that signal our survival. Our modern reflex is one of biological franticness. We reach for the medicine cabinet, seek the nearest distraction, or treat the discomfort as an intruder that must be evicted. We have been conditioned to view our bodies as battlegrounds where symptoms are the enemy and suppression is the victory. However, a profound shift in perception, what Sri Bhagavat calls yogic therapy, suggests that this resistance is the very thing prolonging our suffering. This is not a series of complex postures or gymnastic feats. It is a psychological and biological realignment. The core thesis is as revolutionary as it is ancient. Our body's discomforts are not the disease, but the cure. To heal, we must stop fighting the doctor. 2. The architecture of purpose. Your pain is the physician in the framework of yogic therapy. Symptoms like swelling, fever, and stomach aches are reframed as medicines rather than maladies. When an injury occurs, the body intelligence initiates a repair sequence. The swelling and pain are not accidental. They are the biological signals required to draw blood flow and the brain's focus to the site of repair. When we intervene with resistance, we confuse this inherent intelligence, causing the healing process to stall. To understand this, consider the evocative analogy of a friend with a sickle. If you see a man running toward you wielding a sharp blade, your instinct is terror. But if you realize that man is a trusted friend running to intercept a robber behind you, your fear vanishes, replaced by relief. The blade, the source of your discomfort, has not changed, but your recognition of its intent alters your entire biological response. As Sri Bhagavat notes, if such pain and swelling did not occur in the wound, and if there was an internal injury only, that is dangerous. Painless wound is dangerous. Pain and swelling occur to help us. They come to solve the problem. Page 10. Viewing pain as poison triggers a stress response that hampers homeostasis. Viewing it as a cure allows the body to complete its work in an environment of mental cooperation. 3. The architecture of the interval. Lessons from a scorpion sting. Sri Bhagavat illustrates the power of direct observation, what he calls yogic therapy 1, through a harrowing encounter with a yellow scorpion. While the sting produced an intense, seemingly continuous wall of agony, he applied a technique of observing the sensation softly and patiently, refusing to cultivate the desire for it to end. By maintaining this peaceful concentration, the solid pain began to disintegrate into a pulsing phenomenon. He discovered that what felt like a continuous strike was actually a series of successive sensations with tiny gaps between them. By refusing to move into an enemy relationship with the pain, the interval between pulses, which initially lasted only a second, began to widen. Eventually, the solution happened far faster than usual. The agony of the sting vanished in just 5 minutes because the mind provided no opposition to the body's repair frequency. To merge with a sensation and accelerate this painless interval, one must follow this 3-step process of alignment. 1. Permit the sensation. At a thought level, allow the pain to exist without the mental wish for its absence. 2. Resolve not to escape. Decide intellectually that you will not be an enemy to the sensation. Tritam provides space for function. Give the sensation full independence to penetrate to whatever depth it requires, matching your own frequency to the pain rather than pulling away. 4. The toothache paradox. Why acceptance trumps observation? While direct observation, YT1, works for many mechanical pains, certain conditions like toothaches present a unique challenge. In these cases, focusing on the mechanics of the pain can actually fixate the mind upon it, increasing the suffering. This is where we transition to yogic therapy 2, the shift from observing how it feels to recognizing what it is doing. Think of a stone dropped into a still pond. The stone creates a dent, and ripples immediately form around it. These ripples are not trying to destroy the pond. They are the mechanism the water uses to stabilize the displacement. Similarly, a toothache is the ripple intended to stabilize an underlying dental issue. When observation fails, we must move to wholehearted recognition. By treating the discomfort as a guest who has arrived to perform a necessary service, we stop analyzing the pain and start accepting the helper. This shifts the focus from the mechanics of the sensation to the intent of the healing, allowing the body to finish its work without the interference of mental friction. 5. The water principle, practical clarity as biological reality. The effectiveness of yogic therapy is grounded in our fundamental composition. Sri Bhagavat reminds us that we are approximately 90% water. Research has shown that water molecules are deeply sensitive to human intent. Where abusive words distort the internal structure of water, appreciative words cause it to crystallize into a beautiful flower-like symmetry. Our thoughts, therefore, act as the architect of our internal environment. Wholehearted recognition of discomfort is not positive thinking in the sense of a forced, flowery mindset. It is a practical clarity that aligns the mind with the biological reality of repair. This is achieved through a specific three-pointed approach. Page 14. 1. Understanding bodily discomfort as a form of treatment. 2. Consciously accepting the sensation as a helper. And 3. Treating the discomfort as being inherently beneficial for the body. When we treat a symptom with praise rather than abuse, our internal water molecules reflect that order and the body's healing capacity is amplified. Get the 6. The first aid disclaimer, the requirement of consciousness. It is vital to recognize that yogic therapy is categorized as a first aid measure of the mind. While it is a powerful tool for self-regulation, it requires conscious cooperation, an intellectual bridge that many are not yet ready to cross. I share only my experiences as regards how this technique has benefited me. My views and opinions are to be taken as that of a fellow student only. Page 25. Because this method relies on intellectual understanding and conscious acceptance, it typically fails for children and animals. Their instinctual drive is to escape the pain immediately, creating a mental opposition that prevents the technique from functioning. For serious ailments or for those unable to grasp the philosophical shift required, traditional medical systems remain the necessary and appropriate path. 7. Conclusion. The path of least resistance. Ultimately, health is the manifestation of order at both the mind and body levels. We see this contrast in the city dweller versus the villager. The villager, through physical labor and a less cerebral approach to life, often remains sturdy despite unhealthy habits. The city dweller, however, overutilizes the brain and becomes fragile. This fragility often stems from a stubbornness about health rules, a mental rigidity that actually creates more internal disorder. The path to relief is the path of least resistance. When the mind is free of opposition and the body is allowed to function without the noise of mental fear, healing happens with surprising speed. The next time you feel a headache or a catch in your back, will you treat it as an intruder to be evicted or a guest who has arrived to help you clean?